Hey, good morning. So we're going to start a writing project, which is kind of a diary project. And let me get my mask off here so I can talk to you. And this is the first activity in this series that we're going to be doing. It will culminate in an assignment that you hand in and that you perhaps enter in a writing contest for the New York Times. So this activity is about documenting all the small things that are easily lost. I actually wanted to show you something that was given to me this morning. This is actually something that I got today. It's called My Childhood Memories of Penryn from 1916 to 1922. And it was actually printed up in June of 1997 by a woman named Margie Shelley, who is now gone from us. But the reason I have it is that Mrs. Shelley, who you might know here at the high school, Mrs. Shelley knew that my father passed away recently, and she said, I bet your mom would appreciate reading these memories. I know she's in this book that my, her husband's grandma, I believe, wrote. And so I know my mom's going to love sitting and reading this diary of long, long ago. But I did want to get you started on understanding the importance of this moment in our lives and how we can learn to become better writers by documenting the history around us. So this activity is called, it was written by Linda Berry, and she is a contributing teacher for the New York Times. So this is her work that we see here, and she's going to introduce this writing activity through her, her month's mind, which she's calling the Pandemic Diary Project. And if you read all of this, please read over all of this material. It talks about how when people die, a loved one dies, we think about the last time we saw them, and we recount that information to people who loved them. So I got a card over the weekend, or my mom did actually, from a young man who, well, he's not a young man anymore. He's a college professor, and he actually dated my sister. And so this was like a really, really long time ago. And he wrote in the card that he just remembered randomly the last time he talked to my dad, or one of the last times. He was talking about whether you should go over the railroad tracks at Crider's over here on Penryn Road, whether you should go over them fast or slow. Because sometimes when you go over railroad tracks, if you go over them fast, you won't hurt your car as much as if you go over 30 miles per hour. You're just bumping across those railroad tracks. So funny that he was doing that. And he also talked about talking to my dad about an old car, and it was raining. And it was kind of a cool memory that he brought up. Just kind of interesting and significant, because my dad was a good guy that, would have stood and talked to this kind of awkward teenager who was my sister's boyfriend, and that he would remember my dad being a great person. Well, what I'm going to have you do is we're going to go through Linda Berry's writing process for writing a diary entry, and this will connect with some other assignments that we're going to be writing too. And today's you can see that she is using this diary format. She has some doodles going on here of the cat. It was an ordinary day. She has her spiral up here. And her question is, when you think of the time just before now, what do you picture? And read the entire introductory page. So she talks about how her friend asked her, when did this become real for you? When did that time before now pass away? So she's comparing this to like when someone passes, those moments that you think of before or the last time you thought of them. So she says that when did that time before now pass away? It wasn't in a single moment, but a series of them. Maybe the question is, how did this become real for us? So what we're going to do is you're going to read over her pages here of her diary and her activity. I have instructions for you over here along the side. So Step 1 is set a timer and slowly draw a tight spiral. Let your mind drift to that former time. And here is her spiral up at the top of the page. Second one is set the timer for another 2 minutes, and this time make a list of scenes that come to mind. And here's her list of scenes. Imagine yourself in one of those scenes and answer the questions for that scene. So here are the questions that you're going to imagine. And down here is the last activity, which is set a timer for 8 minutes and begin by writing in the first person present tense, starting with your location. And what that means is I'm in the window seat of a plane just a few rows behind the man who held up boarding, so he could wipe down his entire seat and the controls above it with wet wipes. And I gave a little example for you here. For example, don't write, I sat in my chair in the kitchen, but do write, I am sitting in my chair in the kitchen. Add your doodles to your page if you don't have them already. And I also made a note here at the bottom of the materials you'll need, which is a pen or pencil. Colorful pens and pencils work really well. A timer, the one on your phone, will work really well, but if you don't have that, you can use your kitchen phone or your kitchen timer. Begin the activity by setting the timer for 2 minutes and do your spiral, then 2 minutes, make your list, and then think about what you're going to do when you answer those questions, and then finally set your timer for 8 minutes as you write your passage. Okay? So, first of all, get your materials together and then start going back in time with that spiral that you're going to make. Now, I've got to tell you that I made my spiral, and it took me more than a 2-minute spiral to get back in time. I really had to take myself back because I'm, a little stressed. I'm thinking about today. It's been a while. And whatever comes back to mind, that's what it is. Like I was thinking to myself, well, I really don't know the exact thing that happened. What was my last moment of normal? But I do have memories before that time of what I was doing. So the more we do these activities, the more it'll come back to you till you have a really good essay that you're ready to enter into the New York Times contest or simply submit to me. So this is our first one. If you have questions, just send me an email. Thanks.